Welcome to the new episode of Green Gardens. I am Aishu Bharadwaj, Assistant Editor at Trade Promotion Council of India. And in this episode, we are welcoming Mr. Vivek Prasad, Vice President India from Enfinity Global Group. Welcome to our series, sir. Thank you so much for taking out time and welcome to our series.
Thank you for the welcome. I would like to thank the Trade Council of India to have this discussion on green hydrogen and green ammonia. It would be a privilege from my end to educate people and give my views on green hydrogen and green ammonia in India as well as for export.
Indeed, it is our honor as well to have you on our series, sir. So without taking much of your time now, I would just hop on to my first question, sir. So in the Indian context, how do you perceive the current and future prospect of green hydrogen and green ammonia project when it comes to sustainable energy solutions?
See, India is in a very unique situation and has great number of advantages.
Right.
I mean, if you see it is in a very strategic location between Europe and Japan.
Right.
And I mean, other than location, there is cost of power, then there is internal demand, right, for both hydrogen and ammonia. Now, hydrogen is used at an industrial scale and a very large scale.
Right.
And ammonia, of course, is used in fertilizer industry and refinery. So in short, when you talk about the current, there is a current requirement and there is a future prospect for green hydrogen, because if you want things to be sustainable, if you want the fossil fuel to be reduced in the overall scheme of things, then green hydrogen and green ammonia is the future.
Right.
So in terms of that, India has a very significant advantage for both green hydrogen and green ammonia.
Right.
Now, consider the government has already come out with a demand of putting up a demand capacity of 5 million tons by 2030. Now, if you want to reach those targets, government has given a full support in terms of subsidies, in terms of waivers and everything, and that really helps in you can say of having a good future prospect for the industry.
Right.
So yeah.
All right. So thank you so much. And moving on to my next question. How do you address the regulatory challenges specific to green hydrogen and green ammonia projects when it comes to different Indian regions?
See, there are two parts of the regulations. One part is a central regulation, which I think most of the people know about, is that they are providing certain level of capital subsidy in terms of per kg of hydrogen, as well as they are giving subsidies waivers at a renewable energy level as well. For example, they are giving waivers for the transmission charges at a ISTS level, right? So that's the constant for everyone. But as you mentioned that there is a variability in renewable energy regulations in different states. So if you see, there are two parts again on this. One, if you are making green ammonia, then you have to plan the plants, green ammonia plants, only in the coastal regions of the country. So I would say coastal states of the country.
Okay.
So for example, Odisha, Andhra, right? Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Maharashtra, and Gujarat.
Right.
So these are the 5 to 6 states where we can target these states. So if these states have a common, rather I would say all states are actually currently fighting for investments in green ammonia and hydrogen. Okay. So when we go to the government or approach the state governments, they are as we say now, they are already in touch with different developers to have parity on the on the subsidies or on the regulation which
Right.
they can have. For example, the regulations on transmission charges, the regulation on wheeling charges, exemption, I would say exemption on these charges are being talked about. They few of the states has already come out with those exemptions, and they are going ahead. So if one state is moving on these exemptions, another state definitely will, or is actually planning for moving into these same type of regulation, because at the end of the day they need investments in their states, and that is how this will work out.
Right.
So as so if you see that when you say regulation, what I mean is transmission charges, wheeling charges, open access charges, like cross subsidy surcharge.
Right.
It varies from state to state. But for green hydrogen and ammonia, I think it would be either be exempted or major part will be exempted for these projects, because these projects need a good amount of, you can say, reduction in the cost of power, cost of renewable energy power. And if these charges are exempted, only then it will start making sense.
Right.
Right. So this is how it will work.
Right, sir. Very well. And I really think that these are some of the key areas which you have mentioned, and government, really needs to work upon these areas. And with this, sir, my next question would be, as you know, considering the agriculture driven economy in India, how do you envision the role of green ammonia in supporting sustainable agriculture practices and addressing environmental concerns in the country?
Okay, so first we need to understand where the ammonia is used. So ammonia is used primarily by the fertilizer company for making urea and other fertilizers, which is actually abundantly used by the farmers.
Okay.
And of course, these fertilizers are subsidized by the government of India. And ultimately, because agriculture is a major, you can say, major industry as a percentage in Indian GDP.
Right.
So therefore, it is necessary that the ammonia has to be at the lowest cost possible.
Okay.
Right. Now, currently, this ammonia is being made by natural gas. So you are using fossil fuel to make ammonia, as well as you are importing ammonia from outside. This is a different thing. But at the end of the day, you are making, you can say, a gray ammonia. You are making it by fossil fuel. So I'm saying it's a gray ammonia. Right. Now, idea is that today there is today the price of green ammonia is not at parity at gray ammonia with gray ammonia, but within 10 years, within 5 to 10 years, I see that ammonia, the green ammonia would be at the same level of gray ammonia. And at that time, people will buy directly the green ammonia without the subsidy coming into picture. Currently, the government is it requires government subsidy, waivers, and all those things, right? To reach that same level of pricing.
Right.
But within, I think, 5 to 10 years, we will see that price will reduce drastically, and it will match those numbers which is currently there in the market today.
Right. Sir.
And idea is that if this happens, so it will be killing two birds with one stone. Basically, you are being sustainable and you're also environmental friendly.
Right.
That is how things will work out in agriculture driven economy in India.
And I hope that it should go like this only. I hope we do.
Of course, we all hope.
Yeah, sir. And my next question would be, how do you see India's role and potential in global green hydrogen market? And as for you, what are the unique opportunities and challenges does this market present? Does the Indian market present?
See, India is one of the biggest importer of fossil fuel in the world, right?
Right.
However, if the green ammonia, if the green ammonia is successful, India could actually become a net exporter of energy. when I'm saying the biggest importer of fossil fuel because importer of fossil fuel, it can become a net exporter of energy.
Right.
At the end of the day, you're converting a renewable energy into some other energy form, which is first into hydrogen and then into ammonia,
Right.
and then ultimately using it for some purpose, right? Whether it is used for heating purpose, whether it is used for fertilizer or any other purpose, right? So India has a potential on that. No doubt on that. When you're saying about opportunities, then that's a major thing.
Right.
Now, hydrogen, as I said, hydrogen can be used for heating and energy purpose, and this helps that I agree. I mean, this helps that India has one of the lowest cost of renewable energy, which actually will generate the lowest cost of ammonia.
Right.
And this is an opportunity which will make India as one of the biggest exporter for ammonia.
Right.
These are the two major reasons, I would say. But when you're saying about challenges, challenges are like, because these projects are not very small, these are like very, very big projects. Means one single project can cost you about 30,000 to 60,000 crores, right? So that's the range and this is the range depending upon size of the projects. And for such projects, financing at that level is required. Not only financing, government support in terms of viability gap funding, as well as you mentioned in your earlier questions, there is a requirement for universal regulatory support.
Right.
So all states as well as the central government should follow a universal support that is viable for everyone. That would not only attract huge amount of investment from outside, but as well as in India.
Right.
One more challenge when you talk about India level industries is that as the price of green hydrogen and ammonia is still a bit higher, the government has to come out with the mandates for the hard to abate industries. When you're saying hard to abate industries, means the industries which are highly polluting, like for example steel, refinery. These are polluting industries. So for these industries, the government has to come out with a mandate saying that this much X percentage of your total requirement should be like, let's say, green hydrogen or a green ammonia, right?
Right.
So that also will help. So this is challenge as of now, but I'm hoping that government will come out with such mandates and probably create a demand, immediate demand for the green hydrogen and green ammonia sector in India itself.
Right, sir. And that is why India needs people like you who can, come up.
No, I mean, there are many people
who can come up and talk about these issues, because these are the core issues, and these issues can only come from an industry expert. And I'm sure that government would take certain steps required. And moving on to my next question. Land acquisition and site selection can be a complex segment in India. So how do you navigate these challenges while developing green hydrogen and green ammonia projects? And what criteria are considered for site feasibility in the Indian context?
So I will answer this one by one. So first, let us understand that why. So for any green ammonia or a green hydrogen project, there is because when you're talking about green hydrogen and green ammonia, you're talking about only green. So that means whatever is the power required for generating this hydrogen and ammonia should only be green energy, which is renewable energy, right? Now, so you cannot run, let's say, because renewable energy cannot continuously work for 24/7, a single plant, right? So, so at other times, either you have to stop your hydrogen plant or ammonia plant, and then wait for the renewable energy to come back and then start the process again. So then only it will be called green hydrogen, green ammonia, right?
Right.
The other way of doing this thing is that to set up a very large scale renewable energy projects for running the hydrogen and ammonia plant 24/7. So if you're setting up a when you're setting up a large ammonia project, you need even larger renewable energy plants. When you're saying larger ammonia renewable energy plants, you're talking about huge amounts of lands for setting up these renewable energy plants, right? So based on this, there are two ways to do it. One is you ideally, if you ask me, ideally the state government in which you are planning to set up these plants allows you or gives you the land at a concessional rates for setting up this renewable energy plant. Okay, that is the ideal case. Okay, if not, then you have to do a site selection yourself in those areas where irradiation is quite high, where the solar can be generated at a higher level, where a wind can be generated at a high level.
Right.
At the end of the day, you have to set up a hybrid plant, which is combination of wind and solar, to get the PLF, which is the hydrogen plant generating time of around 75 to 80%. Right. Only then you will get a very clarity on the overall generation of hydrogen and ammonia. Right. So that's the thought process.
All right, sir. And my last question for the episode would be, are there any plans for collaborating or partnership with Indian entities in the solar, green hydrogen and water sector from Enfinity Global? And how do these align with your growth strategy in India?
See, we already are in touch with several of the technology and EPC companies. See, we are developers. So we are primarily developers with, you can say, with more than 1.5 gigawatt of installations all over the world. We have about 17 gigawatt of renewable energy pipeline in different places and in different countries. And the idea is that we as developers are now into green hydrogen production. So we are already in touch with several technology partners as well as EPC partners for setting up these green ammonia and hydrogen plants. Right. So that's our thought, to go ahead and because if you see, as I said, for one single plant of, let's say, I will give an example. Well, let's say one single plant of 0.5 million tons of green ammonia plant, you require 3 gigawatt of renewable energy. Now, consider 3 gigawatt renewable energy is already a big size plant. So you just need that much amount of power for one single plant, right? So there is a good amount of business there. 2-3 such plants would be like pretty huge in terms of overall generation. So we are working with different partners and our growth strategy is very clear.
All right, sir. So that's all for today's episode of Green Guardians, and I thank you very, very much for taking out time. And indeed, this was quite an informative chat, and our audience is going to have good insights from this chat. And for our audience, that's all for today's episodes of Green Guardians. Till the time we are bringing the next thought leader, keep supporting sustainability. Thank you.